The Galactic Council Hall was one of the largest places in the known universe. It was built to impress and to intimidate. Thousands of alien leaders sat in wide circles, their seats floating above the glowing floor. Each species wore symbols of power, armor, or light. In the center of the hall stood a small metal platform. On it rested Earth's latest weapon prototype. It did not glow, it did not float, it did not look advanced. The moment the aliens saw it, the hall filled with laughter. Some laughed with sharp clicking sounds, some with deep rumbling voices, others flashed bright colors to show mockery. "That is the human weapon," one alien general said. "It looks unfinished." Another added. A tall, insect-like commander leaned forward and said, "Our children trained longer than this thing looks dangerous." The laughter grew louder. The prototype was simple. Dark metal, straight-edged, no moving lights, no alien energy core, no shield generator. Compared to the weapons around the hall, it looked old, almost weak. At the far end of the human delegation stood a Marine sergeant. He did not laugh. He did not react. He stood still, hands behind his back, eyes forward. His uniform was plain. No gold, no glowing rank symbols. One of the council members noticed him and raised a claw. "Human," the alien said. "Is this a joke?" The sergeant did not answer. The alien continued. "How long do humans train before they are sent to war?" The question made the hall quiet for a moment. Some aliens leaned closer, others smirked. Training time was a sign of strength in the galaxy. Most species trained for years, some trained for decades. The Marine sergeant finally spoke. His voice, it was calm, slow, and steady. 13 weeks, he said. For 1 second, there was silence. Then the hall exploded with laughter again, louder than before. 13 weeks, an armored alien shouted. "That is not training, that is preparation for death." Another voice echoed. "We train longer just to hold our weapons." The sergeant did not move. He did not raise his voice. He simply stood there. The council leader tried to hide amusement and asked, "You mean 13 cycles?" "No," the sergeant replied. 13 weeks. More laughter. Some aliens shook their heads. Others whispered to each other. A reptilian warlord leaned back and said, "So after 13 weeks, you give them weapons?" The sergeant nodded. "Guns," he said, "and grenades." The laughter slowly began to fade. Not because it was funny anymore, but because something about his tone felt wrong. Too calm, too sure. The council leader narrowed his eyes. "You send untrained soldiers into battle." The sergeant looked up. "They are trained," he said. "Enough." That word echoed in the massive hall. Enough. The human delegation remained silent. No one explained. No one defended the prototype. The weapon stayed on the platform, quiet and still. Some aliens stopped smiling. They began to watch the sergeant instead of the weapon. There was something unsettling about him. He showed no pride, no anger, only confidence. The council leader finally spoke again, slower this time. "And what happens after 13 weeks?" The sergeant paused, then answered, "We stop teaching, and we start trusting." The hall went completely silent. No one laughed anymore, because in that moment, the galaxy realized something important. Humans did not fear short training. They trusted what came after it, and whatever that was, it was far more dangerous than the weapon on the platform. The silence inside the Galactic Council Hall felt heavy. Many alien leaders shifted in their seats. Their eyes were no longer on the prototype. They were watching the human Marine sergeant. A tall avian commander finally spoke. 13 weeks is nothing. Our warriors trained for 12 years before first combat." Others agreed. One by one, they began to speak, listing long training cycles, endless simulations, mental conditioning chambers. The galaxy took pride in time. Long training meant discipline. Long training meant control. The human sergeant listened without reaction. He did not interrupt. He did not argue. When the voices stopped, he spoke again. "We do not train to be comfortable," he said. "We train to be ready." Some aliens laughed softly again. Others frowned. The sergeant continued. "In 13 weeks, humans are broken down. Physically, mentally, emotionally." The word broken made several council members uneasy. He explained calmly. "They are pushed until fear becomes familiar, until pain is expected, until stress feels normal." An alien scientist leaned forward. "That would destroy most species." The sergeant nodded. "It does." The hall grew quieter. He went on. "In that time, they learned to move while tired, to think while scared, to act while hurt. The prototype weapon sat silent between them. Still simple, still unimpressive. Your weapon has no support systems, an alien engineer said. No auto-correction, no safety control. The sergeant looked at the weapon, then back at the council. That is the point. Confusion spread across the hall. Our soldiers do not rely on the weapon, he said. The weapon relies on them. Some aliens exchanged looks. This was not how war worked for them. Weapons were meant to guide, to protect, to correct mistakes. Humans did none of that. Another council member asked, "So after 13 weeks, they are perfect?" The sergeant shook his head. "No, they are human," he added. That answer confused them even more. He explained, "They make mistakes. They feel fear. They feel pain, but they move forward anyway." The laughter was gone, now replaced by uneasy silence. The sergeant took a slow breath. "When we give them guns and grenades," he said, "they already know one thing." The council waited. How to keep going? That simple sentence landed harder than expected. Some aliens began to understand. Humans did not train longer. They trained deeper. The prototype weapon. It was not meant to impress the eye. It was meant to survive human hands. A reptilian warlord spoke quietly. "You are saying the weapon is not the danger?" The sergeant met his gaze. "Yes, the human holding it is." The lights of the council hall dimmed slightly, not by command, but by silence. Because for the first time, the galaxy began to see the truth. Earth's strength was never in its machines. The Galactic Council Hall felt different now. The laughter was gone. The confidence of the alien leaders had faded. Their eyes returned to the weapon on the platform. The simple human prototype, an alien engineer, floated closer, scanning it with advanced sensors. No energy core, he said, no adaptive shield, no artificial intelligence. Confusion spread. "This weapon should not work in modern war," another engineer added. The Marine sergeant watched them closely. He allowed them to inspect it, to question it. Finally, the council leader asked, "Why is it so simple?" The sergeant answered without hesitation, "Because complexity fails." That statement surprised many. "In battle," he continued, "systems break, signals die, machines freeze." The sergeant placed his hand near the prototype. "But this," he said, "still works." The weapon was built from strong metal. Few moving parts, no delicate systems. An alien scientist shook his head. "Our weapons think for us." The sergeant nodded. "That is why they fail when thinking is disrupted." Silence followed. He explained further. "His weapon does not aim for the human. It does not choose targets. It does not protect the user from mistakes." Some aliens looked shocked. "So humans can hurt themselves?" A council member said. "Yes," the sergeant replied. "And they learn not to." That answer unsettled the room. Humans learned through responsibility, not safety locks, not automated limits. The sergeant spoke calmly. "When a human Marine holds this weapon, they know every mistake matters." The prototype was not forgiving, but it was honest. An alien commander crossed his arms. "And the grenades?" The sergeant looked at him. "They are the same." It was in what 13 weeks could turn a human into simple, heavy, deadly. No warning systems, no return commands. Once thrown, there was no taking it back. The sergeant continued. "Humans understand consequences." The council leader leaned forward. "You trust them with this, after 13 weeks? "Yes." Another pause filled the hall. "Because by then," the sergeant said, "they trust themselves." That was the secret. The prototype was not weak. It was not outdated. It was built for beings who did not need guidance, only tools. The aliens slowly realized the truth. This weapon was designed to obey instinct, reflex, will. It was not meant to protect the human. It was meant to unleash them. A low murmur spread through the council. One alien whispered, "This is dangerous." The sergeant heard it and nodded. "Yes," he said. "That is the point." The hall grew darker as the massive windows adjusted. Stars flickered beyond the walls. For the first time, the galaxy did not see Earth as naive or primitive. It saw Earth as intentional, and that intention was terrifying. The Galactic Council Hall was completely quiet now. No one laughed, no one whispered. The alien leaders looked at each other, then back at the human. Marine Sergeant, a massive armored commander, finally broke the silence. "How many of these Marines do you have?" The sergeant answered calmly, "Enough." That single word sent a chill through the room. The council leader leaned forward. "You train them for 13 weeks. You give them simple weapons. and then you send them into war. Yes, the sergeant replied. A strategist from a distant system spoke slowly. Our soldiers require constant support, guidance systems, battle networks. What happens when those fail? The sergeant asked. No one answered. In human wars, he continued, they always fail. The truth settled heavily. The sergeant explained further. When communication is lost, when machines stop, when plans collapse, humans keep moving. The prototype weapon sat between them, silent, patient. It does not need updates, the sergeant said. It does not wait for commands. It only needs a human. The council leader looked disturbed. You are saying your soldiers fight without control? The sergeant shook his head. No. They fight with discipline. The difference mattered. Human Marines did not need constant orders. They adapted. They reacted. They survived. A recording suddenly appeared above the platform, authorized by the human delegation. It showed a battlefield, smoke, fire, chaos. Human Marines moved through it, tired, bleeding, still advancing, no glowing armor, no energy shields, just humans and their weapons. The alien leaders watched in silence. The recording ended. No one spoke. The council leader finally whispered, "This is not bravery." The sergeant corrected him. "No, it is training." The hall felt smaller now. The galaxy had always believed. Technology won wars, but humans believed something else. The weapon was not the center of power. The human was, one by one. The alien leaders lowered their posture, a sign of respect, or fear, perhaps both. The council leader stood. The galaxy underestimated Earth, he said. The sergeant said nothing. "We will not test this weapon," the leader continued. "We will not challenge your Marines." The words echoed through the hall. The decision was made. The Galactic Council went silent, not because it had nothing to say, but because it finally understood. Some weapons did not need to be fired. Their reputation was enough. The Galactic Council halls slowly returned to normal. Light, but nothing felt the same anymore. The weapon prototype still rested on the platform, untouched, unfired, yet it no longer looked small. The alien leaders avoided looking at it. Instead, their eyes followed the human Marine sergeant. The council leader spoke with care now. Earth's prototype will be approved, not for use. But as a warning, a soft reaction moved through the hall. The sergeant nodded once. That was enough. An alien commander asked the final question. "Is this truly your best weapon?" The sergeant paused, then answered honestly. "No." The room stiffened. "Our best weapon," he continued, "is already trained." Silence followed again. The meaning was clear. The prototype was just metal. The gun was just a tool. The grenade was just weight. The real danger was the human who carried them. The council leader slowly stood. "The galaxy will remember this day," he said. The sergeant replied calmly, "We hope you do." The human delegation turned to leave. No celebration, no prideful display, just quiet confidence as the massive doors of the hall closed behind them. The alien leaders remained still. For the first time in their long history, they did not feel advanced. They felt exposed. One alien whispered. "Only 13 weeks," another answered. "That is all." They needed, far beyond the council hall, among the stars. Earth continued its training. New recruits arrived, fearful, unprepared. And in 13 weeks, they would be ready, not perfect, not fearless, but human. The galaxy would never forget that lesson. Technology could be copied, weapons could be stolen, but the human will, forged under pressure, could not be replaced. And so the legend spread, not of a weapon, but of a species. A species that trained fast, fought hard, and never stopped moving forward. Because in the end, the real weapon was never built in a factory. It was built in 13 weeks, inside the human soul.